a really quick video that I wanted to make because I keep seeing this on the internet, and I just think it needs to be just kind of said. Don't gatekeep horror, or don't gatekeep anything really. And by definition of gatekeep, what I mean is, like, I see on Twitter especially and all these other platforms where they're like, oh, unless you like these horror movies and, you know, this list of horror movies, you're not a real horror fan. That is so incredibly absurd. It's ridiculous. That's like saying, oh, unless you like Super Mario, you don't like video games. No, that's not the case. That's like, oh, unless you're like a massive Beatles fan, you don't like music. No, I don't think that's the case either. Horror is such a giant category of films that there is something for everyone. If you want to be a horror fan and you're just like, yeah, I just like the corny 90s movies, that's fine. Or if you're like, no, I only really like demonic stuff, or like, you know, like found footage movies and everything, that's fine too. There is no wrong answer of being a horror fan. And you can see one horror movie and just be like, oh, the only one I've seen is Freddy vs. Jason, but I'm a horror fan. That's fine too, right? Please don't listen to anybody that's gatekeeping or telling anybody else how to be a fan of anything, because there is no right definition of being a fan of literally anything, right? You're allowed to have your own opinions on categories of movies or music or whatever, and they don't even have to be right opinions or bad opinions or good opinions. You can say, oh, I don't like this horror movie. That's okay, right? If you're like, yeah, I'm not a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street movies, that's fine. You're allowed to do that. 100% you are. And if you're still a horror fan, if someone tells you differently, they're wrong. It's literally like that. There is no definition or rule book of being a horror fan. So if anybody tells you different, just be like, yeah, you have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm going to end this conversation here because it's not worth having. There is no wrong way to be a horror fan. If you like a horror movie, or you like a specific type of horror movie, and you dislike another specific type, that is 100% okay. And if someone tells you different, they're wrong. Bottom line. Your dogs are werewolves, whatever.